Lost Closet 12, and I am here with you with a flipped Friday. Put that back a little, just a little better. A flipped Friday for what sold between October 31st through November 7th, and I put these in the order that they sold. I just opened the tabs that way. Sometimes I sort it, sometimes I don't. Today I'm not. And this is for October 31st through November 7th. And I am a part-time reseller on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Depop. And these are my sales for the week. Now keep in mind, some of these are lower dollar, but I was running a huge discount sale on eBay, and I sent out a lot of offers, and I accepted almost every single one that I got this week to clear out old inventory to make room for new inventory. So without any further ado, we have on Poshmark women's comfort shoe, size 7.5, sling back, chunky heel, square toe, life stride tan. They were just your basic shoe. I've had these for over 2 years. They were bins pickup, $2.15, and they sold for $10 on Poshmark. And then I have, gotta excuse me for some reason, this is my second time recording because it didn't work the first time. Sometimes I have issues. So this is the Gap Girls denim jacket, size 4, button closed, lightweight, distressed peplum hem, pockets, and this sold on Poshmark. I originally bought this for my daughter, for her daughter, and she didn't want it. It was a bins pickup. $1.04 was my cost. $7 is what it sold for on Poshmark, and I've had it for over 2 years. These espadrilles were sold and were never paid for. I'm just sharing it in the event that you get the occasional non-payer or non-payment on eBay. It does happen on occasion. It's rare. They were cute. I'm just going to relist them and move on. What's next? Mercy. Every single one. Okay. So vintage sewing kits, sewing hooks, vintage sewing hooks, eye and loops, clothing fastener lot, and then the names. I bought this in a big bag or box at the bins. My cost for this particular listing was, about 2 cents, and I wrote this in August of last year. I wouldn't recommend listing this, but I had it. I didn't want to throw it away. I didn't think it would get resold at the thrift store. They probably would have tossed it, so I listed it. So yeah, this was written in August of last year. And then we have Mr. Bill. It's a Funko Wacky Wobbler Mr. Bill Saturday Night Live bobblehead nodder vaulted. $12.50 is what it sold for. I bought a bunch of bobbleheads, among other things, at a yard sale in September of last year. $5.25 was my average cost of goods for the bobbleheads, and it sold for $12.50. I made my money back on the bobblehead, so like I made a small return on this one, but I've already made my money back on all the bobbleheads, so I'm okay with that. Up next, we have women's distressed shorts, tan, size 14, high waist, logo, faded glory, stretch, light wash. These were a bins pickup in April of 25. 84 cents was my cost of goods, and $8.99 is what they sold for. And every single one is like this right now. So we have women's pullover, lightweight, active, wear honeycomb, textured, Izod, Performance FX. This sold for $3. I've had it for over 2 years. It was a bins pickup. I have my average cost, I'm just guessing, $1. And I rewrote it in September of last year. And this is another old item that I've had for a while. I rewrote this in October of last year. Madison Hill, size 14, windbreaker, bold, snap, snap and zip closed drawstring jacket. This was a bins pickup. I have my cost, I'm guessing, a little over $1, $4.80 is what it sold for. I've had this for over 2 years. It said, yeah, I thought I had made a mistake. Or maybe I wrote it down wrong. Maybe it was a $1 day pickup. So up next, I have Douglas Cuddle Toys Winnie White Cat hashtag stuffed animal plush. I misspelled the word cat, kitten. Well, anyway, this was a bins pickup. 54 cents is my cost of goods. This was written in December of 24, and it sold for $12 on Poshmark. The only reason I picked these up is, well, there's 2 reasons. They were in excellent condition, and it's a good brand. The size is you're not going to have a high sell-through rate on size 5.5, regardless of the brand of the shoe. So these were red, white, and blue pickup. $5 is what I paid for them. I wrote them in June of this year. Michael Kors loafers, size 5.5, leather, flat, black, logo, slip-on, preppy, academia. They sold for $10 on eBay. And these knit comfort mules, size 10, slip-on shoe, gray, flat, Bob's by Skechers. They were written in March of this year. They were a bins pickup, $2.59, and they sold for $7. Toddler boy sneakers, size 10.5, hook, loop, Saucony ride, low top, blue, breathable. They sold for $11.99. They were written in June of this year. Bins pickup 89 cents, and if I didn't say, they sold for $11.99. These Disney Mickey and Minnie Mouse with Cream Puff the dog small action figures. I think I should have put cake toppers in there. $2.50 is what they sold for. They were a bins pickup, where my 19 cents is my cost of goods for those items. Sometimes they do better, sometimes they don't. This is a statement piece, shoulder snap, closed, cream gold tone, hardware, Charming Charlie bag. $4.55 is what I paid for it. It was a $1 day pickup. $1.39 was my average cost of goods for those items I picked up at the Goodwill that day. And it sold for $4.55, and I rewrote it in December of last year. I thought it was cute and would have done better. Woven placemats, colorful oval Mexican style, set of 10, festive. They were just really cool. I loved the colors. I did not think that these were going to sell for over $20, but they did. They were a bins pickup. I wrote them in September of this year. $21.24 is what they cost me, and $1.69 was my cost at the bins. Plush Fox Wild Republic realistic stuffed animal toy, approximately 8 inches high. $6 is what it cost me. I wrote this in November of last year. It was a bins pickup, 79 cents. It sold for $6, so there's a little bit left on the bone there. J. Crew knit top, medium long sleeve, crew neck casual pullover. $4.67 is what it sold for. It was a bins pickup. I have $2, but maybe it was, what size is it? Maybe it was $2. $4.67, and I wrote it in November of last year. And let's not move that. Oval, I do not know how to pronounce that. I'm not even positive it's spelt right, so I'm just going to leave it there for you guys. And brooch, floral, dark, artsy, romantic pin, costume, jewelry. I could have put Asian inspired, probably would have been a good keyword. This was a red, white, and blue pickup from the jewelry bags. 75 cents was my cost. It sold for $6.49, and I wrote that in June of this year. Moving on to Mercari. Women's jean miniskirt, 28-inch waist, above knee, denim blue short. We the Free sold for $12.99. It was a bins pickup. I do not have my cost of goods. I've had it for over 2 years, and I rewrote it in August of last year. Steve Madden wool blend peak coat 2X gray button clothes sold for a whopping $7.25. And where am I? I wrote down red, white, and blue pickup, but I think it was a Ben's pickup, approximately $3. It sold for $7.25. So I made a little bit of money on this, and I've had this coat. I keep losing my spot. I wrote it in October of last year, so I had it a year. And this one I thought would have done better as well. Columbia Tech Light Boots, Winter Snow Day, Black, Orange, Leather, Rubber, Youth, US size 4, $4.37 is what it sold for. This was written in October of last year. Red, white, and blue, $3, and it sold for $4.37. I had 2 pairs, and I don't remember what order they sold in, but they're both gone now. I picked them both up at the Goodwill bins. Morel Siren women's size 7 hiking boots, brown leather laces, waterproof outdoor, $29.74 is what it sold for. I wrote them in August of this year. They were red, white, and blue pickup. $5.24 is what was my cost of goods. This Nike hooded thermal fit long sleeve sweatshirt thumb holes gray, $4.25 is what it sold for. Where am I? Oh, it was a Ben's pickup, $1.57, and I rewrote it in October of last year, so I probably had it close to 2 years. Up next, we have Levi's corduroy women's 31 black shaping skinny 311 stretch jeans black. They sold for $13 on Poshmark. I wrote these August of last year, and my cost was $1.69 at the bins. Swiss Tech winter coat size 6 insulated red hooded zipped outdoors, $18.19 is what this sold for. 87 cents at the bins is what it cost me, and I wrote this in June of this year. 8.5 Minnetonka's women's leather Aztec design lace-up moccasin ankle shoe, $5.72. They sold for $9.45. They were a bins pickup, $1.79 is my cost, and they were written in December of last year. Men's Magellan, if that's how you enunciate it, Outdoor World vented fishing shirt, large blue, short sleeve, lightweight, $5.25. I really thought this one would have done better, but as it is, my cost was 50 cents, sold for $5.25, and I wrote it in December of last year. Yankee Candle Tart Wax Melt Banana Nut Bread and Green Grass sold for $8 on Poshmark. 22 cents at the bins was my cost of goods, and I wrote them August of last year. Like I said, this is the second time I'm going through it, so there we go. This is a set of 2 of My Little Ponies. They sold for $9.99. They were both TY. The purple one had a haircut. Otherwise, they were in okay condition. The pink one needed brushing. So $1.52 was my cost of goods. They were written over a year ago, and they sold for $9.99. So if you like this kind of, that's it for the week, which is more sales than I generally have for Flip Friday. However, the dollar amount was pretty low, so I probably made about the same amount of money. But I got rid of some older stuff, so yeah, thanks for watching. And if you like this kind of content, let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like, comment, or subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. And thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your support. All right, until next time, I'll see you. Bye.